We are back. Happy Monday. And I'm Jess, and
I'm Vinny, aka Mr. Thomas English, aka the guy that wheezes when he laughs.
oh, Wheezy.
I'm like, I had a video where people were like, why does he keep wheezing after every laugh? And I'm like, I had a chest infection and I still turned up for work that day, okay?
The hot take for this week. We're going to do some hot takes on teacher mentors. Do you want to start this one?
I don't mind.
Okay, go for it.
First things first, what is your experience? Like, how many teacher mentors have you had? And in that experience, how many of them are positive and how many of them are negative?
1 and 0. I had one teacher mentor. It was for my first year of teaching, and it was not a great experience. It was not great. Yeah.
I had it where, because in England, how it works is you have 2 teacher training placements for your teacher training year. And I had one mentor that was it was just not a good fit. It was like they were trying to foul me left, right, and center. There was no support. And then my second mentor was literally like an angel on this earth, really built me up. But yeah, I think that in and of itself, I think mentors, especially your first ever mentor, I think there is so much that goes into that relationship that impacts you for your teaching career.
Yes.
That I'm like, I think that the way that it's set up, especially in America, it needs to improve. I feel like so many people have it where especially in schools here where you have a mentor and they're just like, oh, we need a mentor. Anyone can sign up. Okay, you're on it. And it's very much that where it's just an extra thing to add to a teacher's plate.
Yeah. No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think a mentor should be given more time off schedule where maybe they just have one less period than everyone else. So that period is dedicated to you.
Yeah.
And they can either come in and observe you or they can help you. Or say, for instance, you're struggling, they can try and look into help you with strategies and things like that.
Right.
Because for me, I think to have a mentor and the mentor just comes and observes you once a quarter and gives you feedback and they'll say oh, that went all right or that sucked. It's not building anything.
Right. And my experience with the teacher mentor was I never got observed by my mentor. I never did. Well, because she had a full-time classroom of her own and she was trying to run it. And she was a little jaded and just didn't really love her job. She had a very different outlook on education than I did. I think that's tough, going into that role as a new teacher. You're so excited. You finally have your classroom and you've been waiting for years for this moment. And then you get into that role and have someone be like, this is awful. Children are awful.
Get out while you can and you've not even got through the door yet.
Right. Or just set unrealistic work expectations or not even change their practices. She was doing the same lessons that she's been doing for the last 20 years.
That's not adjusting based on the needs of the students.
Exactly. Right. I'm like, we shouldn't be doing it like this, but okay, I'll do it because you're telling me and you're my teacher mentor and okay.
I also just think as well, and this is what I really don't understand, I get from the concept of you're okay, we don't want any conflicts of interest or we don't want any awkwardness, but I honestly think if you have a mentor, they should be teaching the same subject or grade as you.
Absolutely.
Because I had it, for example, I was teaching freshman English, which was a core subject that you have to do. And my mentor was teaching a pathway where you had to both select to be there and you had to test into it. And if for any reason your grades fall below, they would kick you off the course because it was a pathway that would go towards a certification. So it's when I'm getting feedback and they're right, you need to rule this classroom with an iron fist. Anytime someone speaks over you, you need to add 5 extra, like you need to deduct 5 points from the assignment.
Yeah.
And things like that. And I'd be like, I can't even get them to do the assignment in the first place. Why am I deducting 5 points off of thin air? Like, and then, but like me saying that, that's just more evidence that I'm useless as a teacher because clearly I don't have behavioural management.
Right.
But it's like, I very much felt like the whole time it was a losing battle on my side because like, while they're looking at it and they're saying like, this student's off task, this student's this, I'm sat there like, I have 7 IEP students and 5 504 students in that class where they have all of these paperwork things where I need to adjust, I need to adapt. So if this student is out of their seat, I need to allow that because if I try and do this, that's going to cause another issue. Same thing. If this one said that to me, it may came across from an outside individual that like I'm allowing them to walk all over me, but I have an agreement, I have a mutual respect with them where I know that that's okay. Everyone in the class knows it's okay.
Right.
But when you come into my classroom and you're like, oh, like you're on a pathway where you don't necessarily have students on IEPs and 504s because it's not part of their graduation track, how can you then come into my classroom and give me feedback on what I'm doing wrong where everyone in your class is tested there and chose to be there versus I'm forcing kids to just sit in their seat and listen.
Right. And also, like, they don't have the same relationships that you have with your students. Like you were saying, you have different expectations for different students, and it's okay. Like, sometimes, like, the way that other teachers run their classroom is way different than the way that I would.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
And
like,
it's that thing
people would come into my classroom and be like, what? Like, you allow them what? But it's just like that. It's just like that mutual respect. It's my classroom. It's our classroom. And we're going to run it the way that
and it's
makes everyone comfortable.
Like, there's no one size fits all.
Right.
How one teacher teaches is not the same.
Exactly.
Like, to be a good teacher, you need to be able to teaching in a way that's comfortable for you. And trying
and for
to
the
be
kids
someone
in your
else.
class. Yeah. And I think we need to kind of start to look at teacher mentors as therapists and how you look for a therapist. If it's not working with a certain therapist, you move on to the next one. Like do you go to work with someone that's gonna help you grow and not beat you down.
And like, it sounds really over the top, but it's like, the way I see it is your first mentor, especially, like any mentor, but the first one, when you go into a classroom, when like you're fresh off the bat into it, you're no longer student teaching, but say, for instance, you're blessed to have a school that has a mentor as your new teacher, because a lot of American schools don't, which is another issue. But say you have that, and then they turn out to be really negative, and they don't support you, and they make you feel inadequate, like you're not a good teacher. Like, it's very similar to me. The way I see it is like when you're a newborn and you have a parent. If you have a parent that doesn't love you when you're a newborn, that trauma follows you through life.
Absolutely.
Just like the trauma from that first mentorship will follow you through your teaching career.
Right.
Because how I had that first mentor that would literally just absolutely crap on me, every observation following that, I just assumed the instant thing is I'm going to be absolutely ripped apart.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's it. And it's the same thing. Even my wife had a situation where she had a mentor and she'd had like 2 mentors, student teaching, went really well. She was like, I've got this, passionate about her job, everything. Went to teaching full time, got a mentor. They just did not gel. And literally she was like, I feel inadequate. I don't feel like I can do this.
Right.
Like panic attacks, stressed out, everything.
That's not
all because of the negative mentor relationship.
Right.
And it's like, that's, to me, is what I find just so upsetting with it. Like, I feel like there needs to be more emphasis on not only getting good mentors, but also making sure that you're paying them and giving them the time to be a mentor.
Right. And like enriching them as mentors as well. Because those mentors are usually the first people that a new teacher is going to associate with the school climate or culture.
Yeah.
And if you are getting this negative mentor right away, you are just going to associate that the whole school is like that. When I first taught at the school that I was in, I taught in the 6th grade, and I was co-teaching with someone that was amazing. And my mentor teacher had a different outlook on life. And I just assumed that the whole school was like that. And then when they moved me down to 3rd grade in that primary wing, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are so nice down here. Like, this is amazing.
Well, and the issue is as well, and this is like a separate like hot take, but it's like the people at the school that would make the best mentors do not have the capacity to do so because they are so dedicated to their job and doing everything that they can that they're like, I don't want to be a mentor and not be good enough, be inadequate and not be the support that this person needs. So some of the people that would make the best mentors take that route. And some of the people that make the worst mentors take the route of, well, it's extra paycheck. It's a little bit more in my paycheck. It's a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And that's why they do it, as opposed to being like, I want to actually shape and help this person.
Right.
It's just another like, oh, this gives me like a little bit of extra like cash under my belt.
Right.
And there's not actually that dedication to it. Whereas if there was more time and funds for it, it could be a whole different
What if it
ballgame.
was like a dedicated staff position?
I think it could be anything.
I think it could be too.
I just think they need to do it in a way where it's like, okay, this needs to be more than, oh yeah, we're going to give you like, probably like, I think it was at my school like 500 for the whole year.
Yeah. Over the whole year.
It was either 500 a semester or 500 for the whole year to be a mentor. But I think you had to do like 3 observations throughout the year for it. But it's like, you know,
so much more mentoring. Teaching and mentoring teaching is so much more than
to be like, oh, I saw you once in this quarter, okay, another time in this quarter, and then just giving me like, there needs to
or
be
just
more...
like passing each other in the hall, being like, hey, how you doing? Good, cool, bye. No,
exactly. And I think that's part of the issue with the teacher retention, and when people are going from teacher training where they have a mentor to suddenly they're going into a school, and some schools don't even have mentors. You just go in, they're like, okay, that's fine. And you're just like, okay. Like, I remember going into my first school and I had a mentor, but I was like, my mentor is like my mentor, but like I only see them like once a quarter. And I'm like, I'm from a different country. Like, how do you even know that I know what I'm doing?
Oh, we'll get into that one. We'll get into that one. Okay, that was hot takes. It is now time for hot or not, isn't it? This week for hot or not.
Okay, so this week for the hot, we have students who share the tea.
Oh, I love this.
I'm like,
so much.
Any teacher that says they do not enjoy it when a student comes at them and just tells them everything, you know, all the stuff you need to know, it's just absolutely chef's kiss.
This would be the one reason that I would want to work in a high school, just because their drama is just... Sometimes my husband comes home from teaching high school and be like, you're not going to believe what happened today. And I'll be like, tell me everything. I do not know these students. I don't know them, but...
It's also
tell me.
It's when they tell you that. So, say for instance, if you have like a student that's friends with another set of students, like, and I was high school, so I had like several classes in the same grade.
Yeah.
Where like a student would be like, oh yeah, did you know so and so and so and so? They like each other, but you know they don't really know what they do. And then you're there like, I have them in the same class. Like, okay, we're bringing them together.
My life is kind of boring today, so we're just gonna play a little game.
And then you flash forward 2 weeks, they're cheating on each other, there's an argument, someone's crying in the classroom, and you're like, who did this? Oh, it was me.
You're like the producer on a reality show.
You're just there suddenly like, you know what, I've decided this isn't going to plan. I'm going to separate you, okay? Lovely. The audience didn't like this. I am the audience and I've had enough.
I'm bored of this now. Did you have students that like...
Oh, my students would tell me everything. It's when students come to you and tell you what a teacher did, or like especially when students come to you and tell you when another teacher has ratted on you, or like said like, oh, Mr. Chalmers does this, and like I would be like, okay, this is...
Oh, okay. That did happen to me. Yep.
And it's so awkward and uncomfortable.
So awkward. So
like
awkward.
My skin crawl.
It's very awkward and uncomfortable when the students come to your class and you're like, thank God we're here. We were just in like so-and-so's class and we did not want to be. And I'm like, oh,
I
Can't
love
hear
how
this.
they always seem to say, like, whenever you're like, oh, you know, we need to do this. And they're like, well, Mrs. Sledgehammer lets us just paint on the walls. And it's like, no, she doesn't. Mrs. Sledgehammer runs her classroom with an iron fist. That's why she's called Mrs. Sledgehammer. Like, if you can feel my heartbeat now, you can feel it like a sledgehammer.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Which brings us to
All
our
right.
not.
What? Yeah, okay. What's not this week?
This one is self-explanatory. Tech issues.
That's it.
There is nothing more to say on that. Anything. Anytime you need to rely on a computer, a video, anything, you can bet that won't play.
Just guarantee that it will not happen for you that day. Wow, that was... I have nothing else to say to that.
No, it's about time we were quick with one.
Okay.
Literally, you go to any teacher and you just say tech issues, they just like...
They'd be like,
I feel you on that one.
Yeah, that's the universal, like, it's sunny out. The weather's so nice.
And it's always during an observation as well. Without fail, the internet always goes out just on the day of your observation.
I always get, like, the most awkward ads on the YouTube videos that I play during observations. I'm like, wow, awesome. I don't know what is going on, but we'll just talk through this. And people are like, there's a way to get the YouTube ads off. I understand.
Mrs. Smith, what's Vagisil?
Ask your mom. Ask your mom.
That's my sister's name, honey.
Now it's time for U.S.
versus UK.
We're going to be talking about new teacher induction, what that looks like in the U.S. versus what it looks like in the U.K. Okay, why don't you go first this week?
So in the UK, how it works is 9 times out of 10 when people are going into, like, especially high school, how it works is you do your 3-year undergrad degree. So I did 3 years English literature and media and communications. And then after that, you do a 1-year PGCE, which is postgraduate certificate in education.
I'm just going to say this. The UK has more acronyms than I've ever heard in my life.
I love an acronym.
I thought the US was bad. You guys are worse. Okay.
So yeah, they would literally do it. You do your PGCE where you'd have 2 placements. And it's usually 2 placement at contrast in schools. So it's like you'd maybe do like a grammar school and then like a regular public school so that you can get the scopes of both ends. So then when you're applying for positions, you know what type of school you want to teach in.
Okay.
As opposed to here, you only get like, what is it? 1 placement at school.
Yep.
So you get the 1 placement. And then in England, once you've finished that postgraduate certificate in education, it used to be that you just do a 1-year NTI, which is new teacher induction.
Okay.
Because basically when you finish your PGC, you get QTS, another an acronym, which is qualified teacher status. So yeah, you get your qualified teacher status, which basically means you're recommended to teach based on passing the course. But you don't actually get your official like license until you've completed your NTI, which is your new teacher induction. So then you go into like, you get a position in a school, you start the new teacher induction, and it used to be a year, and it just got changed, I think, in 2021 to 2 years. So now you have 2 years of new teacher induction. And throughout that, you have a mentor. There's certain like observations you have to hit with your mentor. And then like, obviously you have your regular one with the principal, but like you basically have like a portfolio.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You have like a portfolio that you fill out that basically tracks that you like know how to grade successfully, you know the standards, like, and how it works in England is when you're being like observed and stuff, I can't remember the exact number of them, but there's like a checklist for every single thing, and I think there's like 9 or 10 of them that you have to go through, and they basically like observe you on, and it can be like part of it's even like professionalism, and it goes like to even outside of the classroom.
Oh my gosh.
So it's very intensive that when you're doing it, like you have a mentor the whole time to help you with it.
Yeah.
But it's there as a way so that by the time you finish that NTI, you are literally beyond capable to be a teacher, and you've gone through all of this process to be an effective teacher as well.
So in the US, we have 4 years of college, which is two of them is basically just the
It's all your gen eds, isn't it? Yeah.
And then we have maybe like 2 years of education classes. And I mean, like I did different placements for different classes, but they were like maybe like once a week. And then we did a semester of student teaching. And then you get your degree and it's like, fly baby bird, get out of here. And you're expected to go into a school and like know how to do all of the things.
Well, and I remember as well, because I was in a district that had an NTI, but the NTI literally just meant you had like a cognitive coach, because we did cognitive coaching, and in your first like year they're supposed to come in like 3 times to watch you, then second year same thing 3 times, and then you also get, I think it's 2 observations with the principal instead of 1, because of the fact that you're a new teacher. So it's like there's a little bit more there, but it's like you don't regularly meet with your mentor. All it is more observations, but not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to have someone that's literally going to lead me through and like help me with this.
Yeah, no.
And like we would also, like one thing that I actually really liked about England with it was like if you're at a school and say there's like 4 NTIs, they would regularly meet with the assistant principal and have like their own meetings and stuff so that you could actually like engage with other people that are new to the profession and that you could like bring collaborative ideas from different like departments and like share what's happening so that you're like connecting with the school, connecting with like different departments, and then also like developing your skills. Versus like I always felt like when I first started teaching, I was like, I feel like I'm on an island by myself. Like obviously you meet people and you speak to people, but I was like, I can't believe I don't have someone checking in on me and checking up on me regularly. Like, how am I supposed to go from like having a mentor that sits at the back of my class to just doing this and not knowing if I'm doing it right or not?
Well, and my thing was, as like a new teacher, I had no idea that I could call meetings. If I had a concern about a student, like I was capable and qualified to like send an email to the team and be like, hey, can we meet about so-and-so? Like I was so scared to do any of that stuff. Be like, everyone's doing great. Not me, but I'm like, everyone's doing great, because you just like, you don't want to rock the boat.
When you have so many new teachers that go into it and they've had that like short experience in a school with a mentor, and they've then gone into a classroom and they literally are just instantly overwhelmed, but they don't have someone they can just go to be like, oh no, I understand it, like you're doing a good job, you're doing this, because you go to other people and like when you're a new teacher, like people judge you because they're like, oh, new teacher, like if you have to like ask someone for help or like you have to do a referral or anything, they're like, oh, new teacher, oh, all these new teachers don't know how to behaviour manage effectively. And you're just like, okay, thank you, but that's not helping. Like, so you just feel like a nuisance because you have to insert yourself onto other people to try and help you.
Exactly. That's my worst nightmare, is to be a burden on someone.
Exactly.
I'm like, I'll just sit in my classroom and pretend everything's fine and I'm not dying inside. But like, okay, with the UK, were you still teaching? You're still teaching full time.
Yes, how they do it, and that just reminded me. So when you're on a postgraduate certificate for education, you're on a reduced timetable.
Okay.
So you still teach lessons, but I think I only taught on 60%. So I was only teaching 60% of the lessons. Then another 20% was there for like observation, so I could observe other teachers to then learn about their practices, how they run their classroom. And then the other 20% was planning and prep, so that I could actually plan the lessons. Like... And that's how it is. And as you go through your teacher training in England, it slowly like increases. So if you're like, no, I want to take on even more, you can take on more. And that's what happens with like the mentors as well, is because they take on that mentor role, they get a reduced timetable where they're like, right, we're going to take this one period away from you. So then you have these blocks in your schedule specifically for your mentee when they're also off, so that you can meet every single week at this exact time and have no issues.
My gosh.
And that's what happens in your NTI as well.
I cannot even imagine.
Your mentor has it blocked into their timetable, their schedule. It's not just an open free space. It's there. This is your meeting time with mentee, mentor. So there's no
This segment is making me really depressed about it.
So that's why, like, when I came to America and I was teaching, I was like, this does not feel right. I'm like, you wonder why, like, the education system is the way it is. Like, to put it nicely, you're sending people in blind that don't know how to effectively do this, and there's no way they can because they're not given the resources.
And if you're spending like 2 years being built up as a new teacher, you are less likely to leave that profession, I feel like, because you're not getting burnt out by all of the things that you have to do.
And obviously it goes back to the mentor thing, though.
Yeah.
If you have a bad mentor, it's harder. But if you have a good mentor, it's literally a dream because you're like, oh my gosh, I have someone like helping me, supporting me. And because like, I can't remember if we said it on this episode or a previous one, where they collaborate and have like shared curriculum.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You don't have that added pressure of being a new teacher in America, being like, I don't even know how to plan a lesson.
Yeah.
Because instead,
no one shared their Google Drive with me.
Yeah,
like, it's just me.
If you struggle, they'll just be like, well, why don't you go on here? Look, here's a whole scheme of work. This is what I do. Like, if you want to like defer it, if you want to like change it, alter it based on your class, you can, but you don't need to.
Right.
So don't
this
give
is the
yourself more
project
work.
I've been doing since 1986. You can have it. Thank you.
Yeah. Instead of here where it's like, here's a worksheet that I just found on the floor. Good luck. Not going to tell you how to actually teach that, but there you go. Just print 50 copies of that and you'll be good. I think UK wins on this one, but I will say I feel like it's hit and miss. I think it's so good in terms of how they build you up, but I think it's also very overwhelming as someone going into the profession.
Yeah.
Having to do both PGCE and that's 3 years of actively teaching and getting observed continuously and having to meet and reflect on your practice to prove that you can be a teacher before you're actually given like the full free reign. Like in your NTI, you get mainly free reign, but you still have someone overwatching you and still checking that you're qualified enough to be a teacher.
And this question might be a little bit off topic, but like teachers in the UK, are they paid like
like the UK does
like
it
does the training and the intensity of that program make sense with how teachers are compensated?
When you're on your PGCE, it's a course, but you usually get like loans and grants. So certain subjects, like when I was teaching English, I got a grant that I never have to pay back because they wanted people to do English. Similar to like I got another, well, I don't know if it was English or not. Yeah, it was English because I got a 2-1 or an upper second on my bachelor's, which is like basically a B.
Okay.
So it's like if you got a B or an A on your like undergrad and then you went into a certain subject, you would then get a grant. So they'd be like, we're going to pay you $9,000 just to do this on top of like whatever loans and grants you get. Because they want you, because they're like, you've got great knowledge in your field of English and we want you to be a teacher because you've clearly demonstrated a higher understanding of the curriculum that you would be teaching.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just depressed now. Okay.
And then how it works is
US.
you then have in your NTI year, you get paid reduced. Like it goes up a few like 100 to $1,000 or $2,000 every year. But it's like your NTI 1 and 2 year, you get paid less than you do when you're out of your NTI. It's also based on like boundaries. Like if you're in London versus like out in the countryside, it varies. But it's usually like British schools are very much like it's a one size fits all. This is the salary for this based on where you're located in the UK.
Now it's time for Grind Our Gears, where we take 30 seconds to rant about something that really makes us angry. I will go first as usual because you are the you are the main entree for this one.
You little pissed off British man.
It's legit. Oh, the little British man is pissed off again.
What a beautiful little pissed off British man.
Why do I feel so comforted that he's pissed off?
Your topic is people trying to get into your classroom when it is both locked and all the lights are off.
And I'm in there?
And you're in there.
This is one of my biggest pet peeves because there is a reason that the door is locked. There's a reason that the lights are off. I'm not going to get up from my desk to come let you in. And when I see your face peering through to see if I'm at my desk, no, I'm hiding underneath it because I'm hiding from you. Take the hint, get out of my life. I'm not looking for you to be in there right now at all. It's not your place. The lights are off and it's locked. I could be doing something really weird in there.
What are you doing? That's weird in there.
Oh no.
Doing my yoga in the middle of the day.
I'm meditating. Or...
Walked in on me doing downward dog. I mean,
Vinny, your topic today is people who share their whole entire relationship online, but don't share why they broke up.
I'm not being funny in saying this, Tiffany, but if you have literally told me the ins and outs of your entire relationship, including your trip to Spain that no one cares about, sharing his family, your family, the whole lot, I don't care about your anniversary. I don't care about the 5 years, the 10 years, anything. All I care about is who cheated on who, because I know it was you. I just know in the back of your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, this was all a facade, and I just know it's you and you deserved it. I hope he cheated on you because I don't care about your life anymore.
Oh my God. Wow.
I'm just like, it's a choice to share the ins and outs of your relationship. And I just want to say that I have, in fact, added his mum, and I'm looking through her photos because she is not on a private account. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say that dress she wore in 2006 was ugly. And that's probably why she didn't like you in the first place.
Whoa. Okay. All right. I would absolutely agree with that rant. That's a good one. If you have pushed this relationship on my face, tried to prove to me for so long that you
like who cheated on who doesn't want to have kids, why is he not proposing to you? I mean, you've been together for 20 years. What's going on?
Was this a conscious uncoupling, or like was it a surprise? Did someone leave in the middle of the night?
I just lied to at this point. I want to know everything.
I have been invested in this.
Like, if I have had to sit and suffer through your highs, I need to be able to eat popcorn throughout your lows. You know what I'm saying?
And there it is. There it is. Now we are going to take a moment just to highlight the underdogs in education right now. People who are not getting the credit that they deserve. And I feel like for this episode, we do need to highlight new teachers and just applaud them and lift them up. Because, listen, I feel like being a new teacher is kind of a rare breed these days. If you're staying in your classroom, just if you are passionate enough about this field, like stick with it. Don't let people get you down, or you can do your own thing and it's okay. Don't feel shamed that you're doing something a little bit different than the teacher who's been doing the same project since 1984.
Yeah, and with this one, I would say as well, this goes out to all of the people that are currently studying education at college that are going online and seeing so many like burnt out teachers and are thinking like, what have I signed up for? I'm thousands of dollars in debt. I'm in my 4th year. I'm literally about to go into a classroom. And now I don't know if I want to do this. I think it's more and more important to just remember that sometimes it is the school. Sometimes it's the district. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just the department you work in or the people that are at your school that you don't gel with.
Yeah.
But just because one school does not fit you doesn't mean that you don't fit the job.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most important things. Sometimes... like, sometimes a school is like trying on a sweater and you need to find the right fit. Mm-hmm. It's not just, oh, I've gone to this one, they didn't like me. Because you could go to another school and it could be amazing. And you could be like, I can see myself doing this for 20 years.
Right.
It's like your environment can completely shift your perspective.
Absolutely.
So any new teachers, my heart goes out to you. It is a struggle, but you will get there in the end. And if you don't, you will find something that makes you happy.
Oh, that was so nice.
I know. I feel disgusted in myself.
And on that note,
the British in me is like emotion that's positive. How dare you? You'll be doing a speech with a wine glass next.
I think you will be. Aw, this has been like uplifting corner with you. This is so nice. All right, this has been another Hot Mess Teacher Express episode. Please make sure that you're following us on all of the socials: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and wherever else, the cloud. Okay, we're under the Hot Mess Teacher Express, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for choosing us.